Hey there, it's me again. I'm giving the talk today. I've opened up the room a little bit. There's a reason for that, and I'll tell you that later. And I was having a little difficulty with the other way that I record my songs. So I'm recording in a different way through Zoom. So hopefully this is going to work. I'd like to begin by thanking Reverend Larry for believing in me and for giving me the opportunity to share with you in a little different way this morning. Not just singing a song at the keyboard, although the keyboard is right here in case I feel like I need it, but just to tell you some stories. I'm not going to say anything that you haven't heard before, nothing earth-shattering. You've got an incredible minister that gives you a lot of incredible insights and beautiful inspiration to go along your life. And I just hope this morning, through some of the stories that I can tell you about my experience with how I am free to be myself, that you'll be inspired to express that freedom to be yourself more fully. When I was thinking about this title, Free to Be Me, I was wondering, okay, well, what does freedom mean to me? And I came up with three things that freedom means to me. The first one is the freedom to act as if. One of my favorite books is by a guy named Neville Goddard, and it's called The Power of Awareness. And he talks about acting as if you are already that which you desire to be, and using your imagination to get into that space. He says, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I'll say that one more time. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Figure out what it feels like, what it would feel like to be that which you want to be, or to have that you want to have, and then feel it. Act as if you already have it. And there's power in that. And it's amazing the things that you can create, whether they be qualities in your life that you want to experience and to show up in the world that way, or if it's some thing that you want to experience. The reason that I opened this up is because this is my shed. This is my he shed. Some people call it my she shed, but it's really it's just my shed. And I wanted to tell a little story about the shed because Danny and I recently moved to Reno, and we have this nice big backyard. And we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have a shed back here to where I can kind of have a little music room, maybe a studio. And so I started visioning that. I started acting as if, using my imagination, going, okay, let's see, what would that look like? And what would it feel like if I'm already in the shed? Okay, let me just kind of see what that looks like. And so I started looking at sheds, and I went to Tough Shed and I ordered a shed, and I didn't know how it was going to happen, but they came here, they assembled it. It was raw when I got it. There was nothing in here, but we got the insulation, and then we had a friend who came and wired it, did the electric, put lights in. I got sheetrock. He helped me put the sheetrock in. Danny and Rick put the sheetrock in. I painted, did some soundproofing, put in the carpet, and here I am in my shed. The important thing about the visioning, though, and the important thing about acting as if and assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, okay, I assumed the feeling of what it would feel like to be in this shed, but it didn't stop there. I didn't walk out the next day and then the shed was just in my backyard, but I had to go look at sheds. I had to go find one that I liked. I had to order it. I had to figure out how to finance it. I had to schedule the time when they came and built it. And then once it was here, it was empty and there was nothing in here. So I had to figure out, okay, well, yeah, we do want to insulate it and we want to put the sheetrock, and what color do I want to paint it? So setting the intention and acting as if isn't just a one-time thing. When Neville Goddard says, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he is saying, don't just do it one time. It has to be ongoing. It has to be a practice. It has to be something that you do over and over and make a practice of, and continue to set the intention and continue to feel what it feels like in order for you to move to that place of either having something in the physical world that you want to have or accomplish, or a quality of, okay, if I want to be a more kind person, I assume that feeling and act as if over and over every time I come in contact with someone in my life. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to express that freedom of acting as if. When the shed was finished, I began to act as if, okay, I'm going to act as if I can record in here. I want to act as if I don't necessarily have to go book another studio, but I can do some of the work here and then go to another studio to finish it up. And so I began to use my imagination and act as if. And this new single that I sang earlier this morning, I did my background vocals, a couple of the other background vocals here, the keyboard, and then took it to my friend Cody's to finish up the recording. But I acted as if this was already a place where I could record. And so I continue to use my imagination and act as if this is a sanctuary where I can have other songwriters come and create with me. I can create recordings myself. I can just be in here to remember to just kind of be present, and to get my head together for the day. So acting as if is one of the greatest freedoms that we have, using our imagination to become the people and have the freedom to be who we are, free to be me in this space and act as if I am that which I want and that I want to be. The next one, the next thing that freedom means to me is the freedom to speak my truth. Earlier in my life, I think my throat chakra just closed up through just different circumstances in my life, and being in a Baptist family and being so different than that teaching, and having that break and not feeling like I could be who I had to be, who other people thought I was or who they wanted me to be. And that never works out. I don't know if you're anything like me, but if you tried that, you know that it never works out to try to be someone else. And I'll take responsibility in that I gave my power away, and I allowed them to take my voice away. And I shut my throat chakra, kind of closed up. I really believe in our physical body and in the energetic body of the chakras, and how important it is to acknowledge them and keep them open and spinning. That's how I look at it anyway. And my throat chakra, I could not speak my truth. I was unable, I gave that power away. And so part of my freedom of being myself has been to learn how to open that back up. At the time that I came out, I couldn't express myself at all. And I had a whole world of Baptist people around me. And so I wound up at an open mic night at a piano bar in Dallas called John L's. And they asked me to come play on a Tuesday night. And I think that John L's and music kind of saved my life through that time, because I was still able to, it didn't completely shut down. I couldn't speak it. I couldn't have a conversation with someone and tell them what I felt, but I could express it through my songs and through my music. And so that was the way that I kept my communication and my throat chakra kind of a little open. And as my life has gone on, I'm going to be 60 this year. So I'm still learning. Sometimes I feel like I'm just now learning how to speak my truth. I guess better late than never. Maya Angelou has this beautiful quote, and she says, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." And I had that agony for a long time in my life and didn't even have, maybe it was the courage, but I didn't think I had the ability to speak my truth and to tell my story. And it's been a lifelong journey for me. I am grateful for my friendship with Karen, because we just did a retreat in Oregon, and this just occurred to me as I was preparing this talk, that we would get through with all of our programming and all the things that we were doing. And at night, we'd go and hang out and just talk. And I noticed about myself that I was kind of exercising that freedom of speaking my truth in a very, I wasn't thinking about it. I just was sharing with her stories from my life, and feeling my throat chakra open up, and feeling my ability to speak my truth opening up more. And it's a great freedom to be able to say what you need to say and express what you need to express. There's another quote by an unknown author. I don't know who wrote this, but it says, "Don't put energy into trying to be someone you're not." I could just stop there, because that was most of my life. And I'm grateful that I have the ability and the freedom to choose a different path and to speak my truth. You can't live a lie forever. Be true to yourself, whether others understand you or not. Speak your truth loud enough and often enough, and you will find your like-minded people. I'm so grateful that I have found my like-minded people in Center for Spiritual Living in Reno, in all the different places that I've traveled. There in Southeast Louisiana with Reverend Larry and with you all. I can't wait to get back there in person. But just finding my tribe and finding a safe place to be able to express myself, to speak my truth, to open my throat chakra, and to allow other people to do the same with me, and to be a safe place for them as they have become for me. I'm grateful for you. And then the third thing that freedom means to me is the freedom to access the present moment. All these freedoms to me are really pulled together in taking 100% responsibility for how I show up in the world and what I make things mean. And a lot of times we can get pulled into the past and think, make things mean something because of what happened in the past, or out of a fear of the future, or what we think might happen in the future, or what is not in the present moment. We have a tendency to make things mean all kinds of different things. And I like to exercise the freedom of coming back to the present moment and taking a breath when I need to, remembering to just be present. Danny and I took a camping trip last weekend. It was at the end of the weekend. My weekend started that weekend on Sunday. And so we went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to a little place, Boca Reservoir. It's about 30 minutes away. And we went camping. And Danny had to come back to do some work on Monday morning. And so I was there by myself with the dogs. And we hung a couple of hammocks, and I was hanging in the hammock trying to figure out what it was going to be, what I was going to talk about, and how I was going to do this talk. And I sat there in the hammock, and I just I kind of rocked myself and breathed and just kind of listened. It's okay, well, what does freedom mean to me? And it began to download, and I began to get the ideas, and I began to get the inspiration for what I would talk about. And we sang the song Breathing In, Breathing Out a little bit earlier. And I'd like to revisit that because there's a meditation that I'd like to just encourage you to do as you go through your week this week. And when you breathe in, say the words, I am. I am. And when you exhale, say home, home. I learned this meditation from my friend Chi Sing. I was playing at Unity Church in Dallas, and a guy came up to me. He was like a short little Buddhist monk. He had on his brown robe, shaved head. I was like, oh, how cool. What's he going to say? And he came up and he said, would you happen to be the Gary Floyd that played at my youth camp when I was in junior high? I'm like, that'd probably be me. And this is weird because there's your Buddhist monk. How did that happen? But he said I was a Baptist kid. And then he also had kind of a break from that whole tradition, and he became a Buddhist monk. And he said, I just want you to know that your music that week really moved me and touched me. It was a full circle moment for me because I felt like that part of my life really just didn't exist anymore. And that it just didn't make any difference. And so for him to come and tell me that helped me to kind of pull a lot of those pieces back together and, into one place. And so I was very grateful for Ji Sing, but he taught me walking meditation. And when we'd walk on the left foot, we'd say, I am. And then we'd take the right foot, home. I am home. I am home. So I'd like to encourage you this week in your breathing, if you need to be reminded to come back to the present moment, take that in breath and just say, I am. And then when you take your exhale, home. I am home. And that's the truth. We are home in the present moment. And if we use that freedom just to access the present moment, it's the kingdom. It's where the kingdom is. That's my old Baptist teaching. But the kingdom of heaven is within you. Kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's the present moment. And that is where paradise is if we allow it to be. So there's the freedom to act as if, and use your imagination to create whatever you want to create. And it's not always a shed, but sometimes it's just, I just want to create more compassion and empathy in my life. Act as if you're already compassionate, and so be it. It will be. The freedom to speak your truth in love, say the things that you need to say, open your throat chakra so things don't get stuck in you, and just open your heart and your mind to speak the things that you need to say and to speak your truth in love, and to be grateful for the like-minded people in the community that you find that it's safe to do that, and that you can be that safe place for other people to do it back. And then the freedom to access the present moment, right here, right now, is all there is ever. And we get pulled into the future, or we get pulled into the past, and forget that all we ever have to do is just deal with this present moment. And there's such freedom in accessing present moment awareness. Eckhart Tolle says this: as soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. When you act out present moment awareness, whatever you do becomes imbued with a sense of quality, care, and love. Even the most simple action. Even the most simple action of watching my two dogs, Judah and Bodhi. That's the best way for me to get into the present moment in my life right now, is just to spend time with them, because they are fully in the present moment. And that love that you get back from a pet or a dog or a cat is just one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I'm not saying go out and get a pet, but if you have a pet, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm grateful for that opportunity too, to be able to experience the present moment with other life forms, aliens too. So I'm grateful for this time that I've been able to share with you. I hope that there's something here that you can take home with you and will inspire you to be free to be you, as I am grateful that I can free to be me now in my life more every day. And I love you all. I got another song for you. It's coming up next. And thank you, Reverend Larry, again, for allowing me to share with you this morning. I love you all. I'll see you soon.